for no reason. Do you know what I mean? You don't know me. Yeah, you don't know me for shit. But all I'm going to say to you now is I'm going to tell you all exactly what happened, right? Yeah, with the 2 separate dog fights. Yeah, because at the end of his video, for about 7 minutes or some shit, I don't exactly know exactly how long, but he's talking about me having a fight with my dog Blacks. Yeah, but then he's trying to tell me that, like, I swear he must have put a bit of a video together from Blacks and, you know, the fight I had in my back garden. What happened in the back garden with the dog that was 7 foot above my head? Totally different dog. 10 years later, totally different area, mate. That was on Mother's Day. Yeah? My children, Ethan and his little sister, right? Ethan, am I lying? I'm going to tell the whole story, how it happened. And listen, while I'm telling the story, if I get something wrong, just please butt in and say, no, Dad, that ain't right. You know what I mean, right? But this is, from my perspective, this is exactly what happened, right? From my perspective, yeah? Ethan and Annika are in the back garden playing, right? I am in the kitchen with my missus making breakfast, right? For Mother's Day, because it's Mother's Day, so I'm making some breakfast and that for the missus, yeah? Tony's in the kitchen, I'm giving her loves and kisses. Tony's looked out the window and the dog from my next door neighbour's house has come into our back garden, and a pug, like a really fat pug. I think it was crossed with a stab. I don't know, some big fat pug. I've never seen a pug so fucking big in my life. Do you know what I mean? But it was a pug. It was just a pug. Yeah. They've come in the back garden. Now I've played with this dog before. Do you know what I mean? Right. I played with this dog before. Yeah. Right. He used to push my fence down on a regular. I'd put my fence back up. I'd fix my fence. This was a big dog. So this was like an English bull mastiff, I think. Yeah, I think that's what it was, right? Big dog, yeah, right? He's pushed my fence down, he's come in the back garden, right? I've gone outside, yeah, to put him back in his back garden. As I have in this arm, yeah, I have titanium plates. I have a titanium plate there, right? When I was younger, before I went to jail, I did this, not fighting, I did it playing basketball, right? My bones snapped out my arm. So I had to have an operation. And I had to have a titanium plate put there. I've still got them in. I've got one there and I've got one there. Yeah, all the way down my arm, and I've got like bolts that hold it together. It looks mad on an X-ray. Yeah. Within 3 years of having this in, you have to have it out. I went to jail, didn't I, for 3 years. So by the time I came out of jail, it was too late. I couldn't have them out. They've like kind of fused my bones and shit. So they can't take it out. They'd have to re-snap my arm. So I've got this titanium in my arm forever. Thank God I have, to be honest. So that day I put this hand on his collar to lead him out. Before I fucking knew what was going on, he was on his back legs like that with my arm in his fucking mouth. Now it's hard to show you the scars, but I've got 3 scars on my arm. I've got one here, I've got one here, and I've got one here. Yeah, right? Just teeth marks about that wide, right? He had this arm in his mouth and he was trying to bite through my fucking arm to get to my face. He was pushing down on my arm to get to my face. Believe that now, yeah? Now, because I've got titanium in that arm, he could not go through the titanium. He'd gone into my arm. This one especially here was in between the titanium. So this one did go into my arm. But this top one and this here, he had a massive mouth. It was all the way around my arm. And he was just basically trying to bite through my arm to get to my head. Yeah, right? It was bending. I could feel the titanium bending and it was hurting. And I was thinking, in a minute, he's going to snap my arm. So I wore having that. So what I did with this hand, I put this hand in his mouth and I prized his mouth open and I pulled my arm out. As I pulled my arm out, right, he went down onto all fours with my hand like that and then bit down. Now, the thing is, right, is this finger, as you can see, is not the same length as this one, right? There was no finger. I had a little bit of bone here, but there was no finger. Was there any finger, Eve? There was no finger. And I know because when my hand was in his mouth, it was kind of on an angle like that. And this finger, only this finger, right, and a little tiny bit of this one, but all it did was gash this one, yeah, was sticking out of his mouth at the side, kind of. And when he chomped down, I watched the fucking finger come off, right? Now, bear in mind, he didn't just have my finger. So he had here, you've got guiders here. You can't really see it, but I've got a scar there. Yeah, and he'd ripped through there, and then obviously these big dirty ones on my hand. You can't see it in this light, but people have seen my hand. My hand is fucked. I've got a scar here. I've got a scar there. I've got a scar there. I've got scars all on the back of my knuckles here. I've got that fucking scar there, and I've got my missing finger. I've got a scar on my ribs, and I've got a scar on my calf from this particular confrontation. Do you know what I mean, right? Now, he's got my hand in his mouth and he's ragging my hand. Obviously, I am not just, listen, I fight back, yeah? So I am a strong man. The dog didn't weigh 15 stone. He probably weighed about 10 stone, 9 stone or something, yeah? But with the amount of power, and he was trying to kill me, it felt like he weighed a lot more than me, yeah? But I literally picked him up with my hand in his mouth, ripped to fuck, with his teeth sticking through my fucking hand, busting all my bones, in extreme agony. I picked the cunt up like that, yeah? And I rammed him. I run him. Because this happened about, I don't know, 10 foot from the fence. My next door neighbour's fence that leads onto my garden now. Yeah, not the back fence that leads onto the other one where he come from. My next door neighbour's fence. So my back garden is like that. Yeah, I have a neighbour there, I have a neighbour there, and I have neighbours at the back. This dog would come from the back. So we was fighting at the top of my garden, right, in the middle of my garden. My garden's like that, we was fighting in the middle. You've seen my garden on videos, yeah? I turned him and I rammed him into that fence. That neighbour's fence there. I rammed him into the fence and I started punching the fuck out of him, headbutting him, kicking him in the balls. I did everything I could and he would not let go, right? He kept ragging me, yeah? Then he let go of my hand and went for my ribs, right? That's how he got my ribs. That's why I've got a little scar on my ribs. It's not a big scar, it's a little scar because I managed to get out of the way as his tooth went through my rib, yeah? Right? I then picked him, I grabbed him again and I rammed him, I grabbed him here, right? Even though my hand was fucked, trust me, my adrenaline was pumping. Do you know what I mean? Right, I grabbed him and I rammed him up against the fence and I started headbutting him. I was trying to fucking kill him because he was trying to kill me, yeah? At that point, bro, yeah, I swear, the worst look in the world, he's had the same hand. He just had the same hand again. That's why I've got 2 sets of scars. I've got one there and I've got one here by my thumb. The second one is the thumb. Do you know what I mean? He had my hand again and he had it in his fucking mouth and I swear to God, I'm fucking punching him. And at this little cunt of a dog, his little mate, started biting my fucking calf. And I was losing blood now. I was losing a lot of blood. I was actually getting weaker. I could feel it. Do you know what I mean? Right? And he was biting my calf. I managed to kick backwards and hit that little dog. That little dog fucked off. I only hit it once with the back of my heel, but that dog was gone. Do you know what I mean? Right? And then it was just me and the big dog. Now, I don't know what happened. I can't explain what happened. He just let go of me. Do you know what I mean? Right? He went to the top of my garden, started pacing up and down, and I backed off into my house. Do you know what I mean? Then went into my house, sat down, and I ain't kidding with you, right? Blood was squirting out of my finger, was it not? It was squirting. My dog, Butch, bless his heart, he didn't know what to do. He didn't even try and protect me. He was not a fighting dog. He just sat there and licked all my blood up in it. He just sat there and drank my blood, man, the little faggot. He had some nourishment that day. Do you know what I mean, right? So that is exactly what happened. Do you know what I mean, right? So when this geezer's saying, oh, yeah, first he said it was a staff, then it was a fucking 7-foot dog. No. That's 2 different dogs, mate. That's 2 different dogs. So I've just called you out now, yeah? Right? I've just basically told everybody that what you're chatting is bullshit.